your loved ones. It affects business. It can affect everything you do. If you're not happy and well mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, if you just have that little time to yourself, it really does help a lot. Even taking a cold shower, I was huge on that for like a year. I was taking a lot of cold showers in the morning. I hated it, but then I loved it when I was done. It really does. How you guys doing? I'm Bronson and
And I'm Christian White.
Welcome to Bronson and Christian Talk. How's things been going, man? How's the week? How's everything been treating you?
Been doing great. I debuted my podcast, Discourse with Christian. I've already have teed up, so to speak, about, I would say, 18, 19 episodes I've done. So really grateful for those who have been on it, and of course looking to have you on and share your story. Just getting quicker at learning how to edit and learning how to do the content creation stuff. And I tell you what, I have so much respect for people who are producing stuff, because the learning curve at first, there's just so much to learn.
Right.
You pull your hair out.
Yeah, I would assume so. Like I've said last time, Christian's the one who does a lot of the editing or, sets it all up, and it looks like a lot. So, but at the end of the day, I'm sure it's definitely like fulfilling, like, okay, I did this, like,
Oh, yeah.
a lot, man, and, we're just talking earlier how, like, when we just first started less than 2 months ago, like where we're at, we've already made huge improvements. So another month or two from now, it's just going to keep going up and up and up. So I'm happy, and congratulations, like I said, on, getting, your side of the podcast going and getting all those interviews. It's a lot of work, and he's getting a lot of traction with that. So that's good, man. So I'm happy for you. That's awesome, man.
I appreciate it. And how about you? How's the week been for you?
It's been good. Just grinding. I stay busy, dad stuff, work, trying to get a little bit of me time. I was in LA this past weekend, had a great time, and it was good to get away. I needed to get away. I know I went out of town like a few weeks ago, so that was fun too. But it's just, you got to have you time. You got to have you time. I say it constantly, and I'm so for it. You're no good to anybody else if you're no good to yourself, and I feel it's so important. And I'm going to be honest, I lack that at times, so I don't want to be like a super hypocrite, but you got to be good to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of something we would like to talk about today too, wellness and, and how important that is to take care of your mind, body, spirit, internally, externally, everything. And what's cool is me and Christian are kind of the same wavelength. He started adopting kind of what I do at night. He actually does in the morning. So do you want to kind of share, your wellness type journey, or what direction you really go with that?
Yeah, I want to start out by saying that I feel like there's so much emphasis on finding some secret, or, like learning how to invest or start this business or fill this or that and the other. And ultimately, you got to have the foundation. And
Mm-hmm.
it sounds so cliche and trite because people talk about it all the time, but it's so true. When you get the fundamentals down, you will 10x your game. Now, I'm not going to pretend, proselytize that again, like I'm figuring it out. I'm learning each day, but I got out of my routine late last year. I had it at times where it was hard, where I just kind of slept in. There was no mission, purpose. I was trying to figure things out again after exiting a business.
Right.
And recently, I've really got back in the routine, and it's made a profound freaking impact.
Right.
It's really made a difference, and I'll share with the audience at some point, quotes and some of the books and stuff that I'm reading, and
Yeah. So, how long have you been back into, your wellness journey with, whether you do your foam rolling? Because that's what I do, and I stretch and things like that. I'll let him dabble into what exactly you do, and you can share with everybody. What's like your routine look like?
Yeah. So my routine starts off. I wake up at about 5:30. I feel like that's a good balance between, because it's like, if you wake up too early, then obviously you have to go to bed earlier.
Right.
And most people are not on a going to bed at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or sort of schedule, right? Because we have things, if you have kids or you have this, that, and the other, you just don't have that luxury. And so I feel like 5:30 for me is a good balance. But when I wake up, here's kind of a cool trick that I learned. they say when you're about to fall asleep and just when you wake up in the morning, like that first, like 30 seconds to a minute, you're in what they call, if I recall correctly, it's called theta state, and where your mind is more impressionable. So if you hear something, you're more likely to retain it. For example, they say if you study your notes, like let's say you have a quiz at the end of the week and you're in school,
Right.
if you study the notes right before bed, you'll have better retainment because there's studies there. So one of the things I had to do is I have like little mantras or rituals that I'll say to myself, things that I'm trying to work on. Like one of them is, and this is to keep me grounded, is I say to myself, they say there's something about like Fibonacci numbers. I don't know if the audience or you're familiar with it, but that there's basically like numbers associated with the nature and such, and 3, 6, 9, or whatever, if I recall it. But anyhow, like one of the things I say is slow down, take pauses, be present. I say it 3 times, and because it reminds me throughout the day. So anyhow, that's a little snippet that I do. But to answer your question, I go from I do a quick prayer, and then I visualize, like I visualize as if I am possessing what I desire, and then I write out my affirmations. That's where I literally write them out, and I put them in the present tense. And then after that, then what I'll do is I'll read. Right now, I'm reading "Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life: Living the Wisdom of the Tao" by Dr. Wayne Dyer. This book is really phenomenal. As you know, there's 81 verses in Lao Tzu's work, and I read a verse each day. And then Wayne, the gentleman, he's now deceased, for those who aren't aware. What he does is he writes his own take on the verse, and so at some point I'll share some of the takeaways. But what I did is, this is my bookmark, and if you're listening to audio, obviously you'd have to watch the video to see it. But I created this kind of guide for myself, and the reason why I created it is to remind myself things that I want to be reminded of each day, and I feel like in life. And I know I'm going to ramble on, and I want to have
that's not weird. No,
talk.
Keep going, man.
But I feel like we're all trying to figure shit out, and they say that you'll never ultimately figure it out, and just live and just be and exist. And but I think there's some fundamental things that one can do to make things a lot easier. I don't think life is inherently hard unless we make it hard.
Right.
And so I write out some things. So I have some basic things like, meditate, gratitude, perspective, organize, prepared, early, confident, humor, smile. I know it sounds really cheesy, like talking about this stuff, because like we all have heard about it, but these are things that, at least for me, I need to be reminded of. And then I have a wheel here, and this wheel in a sense has spokes, and each one contains something like health, money, romantic relationships, friendships, leisure.
Damn, that romantic one was hella big. I was like,
there's nothing there.
There ain't nothing there. It's just a line. That's it.
But anyhow, I actually learned this from a lady, and basically, technically what you would do is you would color it in, or you would fill in where you are. So visually, you could see how full is your bucket, like health-wise, quality of life, leisure, romance, or fill in the blank. And then I also have a timeline that you can barely see on the camera, but the timeline denotes today, 5 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 5 years from now, 5,000 years in the future, to put us in perspective as to where we are in the span of time and in the cosmos. We are a tiny speck of sand, and I say unless technology changes, our natural life is only so long.
For sure.
And I think it's important to realize that, because ultimately, I don't like talking morbidly, but everything we do is because of time, is because of the notion that we're not, again, unless medical science changes, and fingers crossed, unless things change, we will die. And I know we know that, but when you really think about it, you're like, wow, I'm only here for a finite amount of time. That it forces you. It's like, why do people have timelines? Oh, by 30, I need to have kids, or I need to have this, or by this, they have these timelines. But if you were around for 1,000 years, you wouldn't have these.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's all predicated on like time. Okay. And so, anyways, I know I'm boring, Bronson. Maybe
No, I'm taking it all in. You're sharing your thoughts, and the question I asked, what's your
yeah.
routine, and your well-being of things when it comes to wellness. So
And so I'm anyhow. So I do that, and then I check the news real quick. I don't watch the news. I just kind of go through, the basic news outlets and stuff, just to kind of be informed, like, weather, just basic stuff. So it's like, that way I'm more informed. And then I will then work out. I work out for 30 minutes. I try and do it like an intense workout. I do that every day for 30 minutes. Or work. I don't take a day off, but I'm only doing 30 minutes, so it's not like I'm killing my body. And I stretch. I think that's important. And then I'll go on a walk, and I'll do something that is something I really enjoy. That's just typically maybe reserved for when you have complete downtime. Whether that's watching something, listening to music, whatever it may be. I do that for 25 minutes, and then I start the day. So the whole premise why I'm sharing this is because I have like my own little mini tiny day before I start the day. And by reading, various books like Wayne Dyer's work, I've also been reading a little bit of the New Testament, which I'm learning, I'm understanding how that is. And then Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. I finished that recently, but I'm going through the notes part of the book.
Right.
And I want to share this with you, and then I'll shut up and I'll let you.
No.
I'll let you. You mind if I see your phone? The
Absolutely.
boats here. So, I came across this not too long ago, but I thought it was very, very eye opening for me at least, and I hope it resonates with the audience. 10 life transforming themes from Lao Tzu's Tao teaching, and the Tao teaching is Lao Tzu's work written about 2,500 years ago. These are the top 10. Tao. The Tao is the infinite, common source, eternally present within you. No beginning, no end, the essence of wisdom. Just be. 2. Centeredness. Balance and reside at the center of the circle within the Tao for peace in your heart, natural rhythms, and universal harmony. 3. No self. Don't live life. Let life live you. You will be truly yourself and perfectly fulfilled. This leaves nothing to fear, not even death. 4. Look inside. Embrace solitude and trust your inner vision to see your oneness with the whole universe. Go deep instead of living on the surface. Okay, we got 5 now. Desire/non-desire. Remove all expectations and stop seeking to realize the mystery of life and be at peace in the present. 6. Not knowing mind. Know that you don't know. This is true knowledge. Observe your mind to understand. Stop thinking and end your problems. Non-action/action. Through non-action and practicing not doing, you will do everything that needs to be done. The Tao will act through you. Okay, next one. Non-resistance, non-judgment, and non-attachment. Let things come and go. Have without possessing, act without expecting. 9. Contentment and simplicity. When you realize you have enough, you are rich. The whole world belongs to you. Simplicity returns you to the source. And lastly, paradoxes. That paradox is the way. When the Tao is forgotten, humanity goes off course. The world is sacred as is. We only need to trust in the Tao. So anyways,
pretty deep. I mean, it's, because I don't have the book he has, but the book I have, this gentleman broke it down to his, understanding of it and his viewpoint, correct?
That's correct.
So I think it's awesome, man. I think it's great. So that's all of your morning ritual that you do.
That's what I do, and I just feel great. I mean, look, yeah. I've read a bit stuff that is philosophical in nature. Okay, that gives me perspective. I think here's the other thing I do is I write down 5 things I'm grateful for, and it's got to be something each day. It's got to be something different. It can't be the same shit. Like I'm grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful. It's got to be something different. It could be something as like,
thank you for letting me wake up.
Yeah, it could be something as simple as like, I'm happy I have teeth. Like there's people who literally
they have like 1 tooth.
Yeah, I mean there's people who literally they don't have any teeth, or they're burdened by the financial burden of having to go go and have their teeth done or something, So it's like simple things we all take for granted. Just, so I do that for 5, and then I do 5 perspectives. So I'm trying to think of what I did. So like one of the things I did today was like, I'm thankful that I have furniture. I have a chair to sit on. I have a table. I have a bed,
Right.
and then perspective. There's someone around the world right now who literally does not have that. There's people tonight that will be sleeping under a highway.
Yeah.
Or
There's
they,
a lot of those, unfortunately. Saw a lot of that in LA.
so
So,
yeah.
continue.
So yeah. So I think that's just so important, because just like working out, I feel like, and they say like you got to constantly work out, not only to build muscle, but to get the toxins out through sweat and
Right.
through getting your heart rate going. But the you have to, I feel like you have to constantly maintain the perspective, because it gets lost. The perspective gets lost. And we have to be reminded of that every freaking day, because then you start, I feel like we can have a tendency to deviate.
100%. He does that in 30 minutes in the morning. Workout's 30 minutes, and this is at 30, so like an hour.
I would say my routine, let's see. So I get up at 5:30, and then I would say I start work around like 9.
Okay. It's a lot of downtime to do all that, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm not, he's pretty deep in that, and that's awesome. I don't think, I know for a fact many people do not do that. Which is not a good thing, but you're blessed to be able to have a little bit of that time in the morning. You know what I mean? That's why I do it at night. I have more time at night to do that. So if you want to do it at the time. Like maybe your time to be able to do that stuff, for that wellness for yourself, to help you mentally, which will help you physically, spiritually, emotionally, even financially. Might be at lunchtime. Everybody's time is different, So I do mine in the evening time. I've been procrastinating. I'd be lying if I said, I haven't been. I was on it for a few weeks. I've been off this week. This week, actually, Christian knows, like, man, my eyes were messed up. I wasn't feeling good. I felt like I had a really bad cold or something. My wisdom teeth were growing in, causing like a light fever. It was a mess. So, but I usually, more on a mild side of what Christian does, I do it at night. That's the time I have, because, my kids, they go to bed like 9:30. Then I have me time. Me time after I'm done watching TV or, looking stuff up, whatever, on YouTube, and, watching some nonsense on YouTube. You kind of get lost in it sometimes, right? And then 30 minutes go to, so mine's about an hour. So I read for 30 minutes, and then I have 30 minutes of foam rolling, stretching, and then 10 minutes is just laying down after I'm done. And I have, like that, what's the music that we've talked about? Like,
The hertz, the frequency.
the frequency. I think last time I said vibration music. That wasn't the term I was needing to use, but yeah, so the frequency, and then I put it on and I just lay down, and man, talk about relaxing. And then reading is something that the past, year and a half, I started doing a lot more, and that gets me sleepy. So after I'm done doing that, I'm already relaxed, and then I'll read for 30 minutes and then put on my thing, boom, put it to the side, and then just fall asleep, but it's super important to do that. I think it's best to just try it once a week. It's like anything else. If you're trying to wing off caffeine or drinking or smoking, you can't just go cold turkey. I mean, you can if you have that mindset, but most people don't. I feel like you gotta, in this sense, it's like you have to ease your way into this, right? Try it once a week. Try it on a weekend if you have kids and you don't have them that weekend, or if you have kids and you're together with your spouse, your boyfriend or girlfriend, and your kids are asleep, husband's, doing his thing, or girlfriend's doing his thing, whatever it might be. Take 30 minutes to yourself. You don't have to do it in an hour or do it as long as Christian does, but even if it's 10 minutes, stretch, lay there, put on some relaxing music of your choice. I don't recommend music that has words, just relaxing music. Can be a waterfall, whatever. But you gotta be good to yourself. You really gotta have you time. And you time can be watching TV, but cut out the TV. Just stretch, relax yourself. He works out. You don't even have to work out. Just stretch. Just have 10 minutes to yourself and just lay there on the carpet or ground and just relax your mind. But I think you need to take some time for yourself. I think it's super important. And not, like I said, not just TV and having a drink of a glass of wine. I know girls are huge. I just want a glass of wine, eat some ice cream and relax. That is, having you time, but you need to have some healthy you time too. Like, where you're just detoxing from the world of everything. Just need you. Just clear the mind and just focus on you for that moment. And look, I'm not this big spiritual type, person. I do believe in God. I do believe in a higher power. I pray every morning and every night with my sons. And that's another thing I do. Before I do that, I pray for my sons before they go to bed. Then I go to my room, do my me time, then have that 30 minutes of reading and 30 minutes of like my wellness of just relaxing my body and stretching and foam rolling and just like laying there. But you have to really be good to yourself. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not this huge spiritual person, but it's good to have like that, those Zen moments, those just woosah, just relax. And a lot of people don't do that. Dude, I don't know one person who does it besides you. And Amadeo. He's like you. He's more of an extremist. He will put his phone in another corner of the room and just so that he doesn't bother with it, and then he reads. So, I don't know if he necessarily stretches and stuff like that, but I know he works out. I'm sure you've seen his post too. Day 200 and something today. Every day he works out. Now, I'm not saying he should work out every day. That guy works out before he starts landscaping. So, like, he's a beast, and so all kudos to him, especially being so young and doing it. But what Christian's doing, I think is great. Start on my level, just a couple days a week, if you have to, because that's all I've been kind of doing lately. But I think it's so important, and it affects your loved ones. It affects business. It can affect everything you do if you're not happy and well mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. If you just have that little time to yourself, it really does help a lot. Even taking a cold shower, I was huge on that for like a year. I was taking a lot of cold showers in the morning. I hated it, but then I loved it when I was done. And I know a lot of people are really big on ice baths, and I think that's great. Hopefully I can get one soon and put it in the backyard. I think it's such a good thing. And then you can kind of just like, man, it's like having a cup of coffee for your body, just like, boom, real quick. You know what I mean? So I think it's great. So that's kind of like my thing. And I'm on a smaller level than Christian. What he does is to the max, and I think that's awesome. And doing the affirmations, and he's a grown man, and I feel like people might think, well, that's kind of a chick thing, or like, oh, what? It's so important. That's called speaking things into existence, and I'm huge on that. I don't necessarily write them down. I actually talk to myself a lot. I know it's kind of weird.
Same here.
So I'm just like, man, I gotta really push myself today. I was like, I just can't give up. Man, my sons need me. Like, that's my motivation to get better. I'm blessed to have kids. That's my motivation, right? And so for me, I'm just like, even at work, big thing, anybody who works with me, man, this is easy work. Even though I know it's really hard at that moment, but if you keep saying it's hard, it's going to keep being hard, And so that's why, Amadeo, he's like, that's light work, baby. I'm like, yeah, it's light, man, it's easy. And we're over there dying, man. But, that's, mental is so huge. You speak all this crap and like, I can't do this. I'm not going to do this. Then you're not. Then you're just not. You're just not going to be able to do it. That's how I used to do, because I was a trainer for 10 years. So that's how I did it when I was working out. When I was heavy and working out, everybody goes, hey, how many reps are you going to get for bench? I don't know. Don't care. I'm just like, when I'd go heavy, because once you say 5, mentally, you already put yourself that you're only going to probably get 5. So you don't want to put a limit on weights, right? Just like in life, you don't want to put a limit on your success and what you're able to do in the world. You know what I mean? So I went on my little tangent just like you did.
Yeah, I just think it's something. I think people are more in tune, more aware of wellness in recent years. I think we still have a ways to go. Look, I'm a very industrious person, as is Bronson. I early on, this was after I got out of the military, really, I feel like I subscribed to the false narrative of this. You need to work every minute of your waking existence while you are starting a business or while you're starting this.
And you see that a lot on social media.
See it so freaking much on social media. It actually, it rubs me the wrong way, especially when I see, and I won't name the people, but
Right.
Been some billionaires who've said that, and
It's hurting people because a lot of people, and I definitely don't mean to cut Christian off, but just to like capitalize on that, I hate seeing that. Now, I think they get confused with you have to grind in the beginning. There's days you might work 7 days a week for a few weeks or a month. I get that, but they're saying you just got to keep doing that. No, because then you're just living to work for what? For the money that you're not really enjoying because you're too busy making it and not spending time with the people you love and care about. I'm huge on not living to work. I'm huge putting in the time and effort that you need to do to be successful. But yeah, I totally agree. Continue.
Yeah. So I think it's actually detrimental because there's a time and a place. And I'll use the analogy, and I heard this. The fastest land animal on Earth, to my understanding, is the cheetah, and they can go up to about 70 miles an hour.
Right.
And when they go for the kill, and they're doing that sprint, right when they're done going full out, all out, they can't move at all. They could barely
overheat. They're just done.
I think it's like, I've heard like 20 minutes or something where they can barely move. They're wiped out. I'm using that analogy because there'll be times in life I feel like where you're going to have to sprint. We've all been done. I got the T-shirt. You're going to have to sprint, but then it has to. Your break should be commensurate with what you've just put in.
100%.
So, but back to what these people are proselytizing, putting out there, which is 100 hours a week for years. I didn't do this. Okay, first of all, I call bullshit, because I highly doubt you were sitting there in front of the computer just slaving away nonstop. You took a break. You went to the restaurant. You met up with people. It may have been brief. Maybe you didn't go on vacation. Maybe you didn't do this. But what I think, the reason why I think it's so important is because not only, and you got to define what your values are in life. I think that's really important. What are your values? What do you value? Well, for me, I mean, obviously, I strive to achieve a certain level of degree of success in life, but ultimately, I value my health. I value my relationships. I value my integrity. I value this. I value that.
Right.
And so, but to put it out there to general population, I just think it's erroneous, and it gives the wrong image. Lastly, I'll have Bronson take over. I actually worked alongside a gentleman who was worked around investment bankers, and for those who are in the audience who aren't aware, investment bankers are basically financial advisors for like businesses and such.
Right.
And they're raising money and doing all sorts of stuff. And when he was telling me when he was over in New York doing that stuff, and they were working exorbitant hours, they were still taking breaks throughout the day or doing this. So I just, and I would even argue that sometimes less is more. And, so.
No, I agree. Sorry. Coke break. Coke every day. But no, I agree. I think especially with the younger generation, it can scare them away. Like, man, but you gotta remember, a lot of people are saying that aren't even our age. These people are a lot older. Let's just be those are the baby boomers. I had to talk with my dad about it, because my dad works for me, but I don't view it like that, right? Obviously, my dad, he's a baby boomer. He's gonna be 65. The hardest physical person working out there I know gonna be 65. And you've seen him work, so you know that. But they're the play it safe type people, grind. Like his dad, we just talked about it today. His dad worked 25 or 30 years straight and never missed a day of work. You know what his reward was? A watch.
What kind of watch?
Not one that's worth it. I don't care if it was like a $50,000 watch. It doesn't matter. So you're saying for almost 30 years of never missed a day. People can't even go like 30 weeks without missing a day. Dude, that's hard. Try to do a year without missing a day of work. That's extremely hard. So it's a different era. Probably the hardest working, in my opinion. So I feel like it's a little different, right? Their mindset is different. Do you agree?
100%. How old is your grandfather?
He's 81.
Okay, so yeah, he obviously he was around when in the 40s the Depression was going on and such.
Right.
I imagine I know I'm kind of deviating here for a moment, but
right.
There's a term maybe you've heard of, or maybe the audience has, called the fourth turning, I believe it's called. It's basically like every 80 years there's like a reset or what.
Right.
So they're saying the last one was like World War II, Depression. Before that, it was like Civil War. Before that, it was something else. So what I'm getting at is, right now it's a very funky time. I mean, look at the opening of the Olympics and all these other things going on.
Wild.
Yeah. And we can dive into that at some point
Yeah.
too. But what I'm getting at is people have not, and then I want to get back to your point, but just to deviate for a moment, we have not truly experienced immense pain. And people who were born in the 20s, you not only went through a depression, you also went through a global war that cost 60 million lives. Then followed by 20 years later, 25 years later, then you had right after World War II, not long, you had Korea. So imagine sending your kids to Korea. We lost a lot of Americans there. Vietnam. So, there was a lot of, they were raised in a different environment. And It's going to take another thing like that, unfortunately, for people to get back into having the values that we had, in the 40s.
Right. And back to my point is, it's their thought process is different. I think they're like, man, I had to grind for, 20 years, never be around my kids. I mean, that's not a life to live. And, I feel like I'm in between, because I'll be 37. I was born in the 80s. So for me, I feel like I'm both. I feel like I come from a hardworking class, and then also I got the, YouTube life, right? So I got both worlds, where my son and like anybody under 20 in their early 20s, they're all about social media. That's all they knew, and then, like my dad in their era, they didn't have none of that and just work. And then my grandpa, that's a whole nother era. So my thing is, those people like my dad, they have a different type of view, on, like that's why, like my dad, I saw my dad quite often, but like it was brief, for 7 years straight, he worked 7 days a week. And so, but he came to our games and stuff. So I'm bringing that up because like, you need to be happy. You need to spend time. If you have family, definitely spend time with family. I mean, that's the whole purpose of life. Find someone special, grow a family. The norm, right? I guess what's considered normal, having a family and growing, because I feel like we're put on this earth to not only just be happy, but be with someone, have a family, grow, watch them grow, have kids and grandkids. I mean, that's fun. I love my sons. It's fun, and one day I'll be a grandpa, and it's crazy thinking about, so, but that mindset is different. And I don't believe in it. I believe in spending time with your family and the people you care about and you love, because, it's not like you. I don't want to be morbid, but you're not promised tomorrow, as cliche as that sounds. Live today as you're not going to be here tomorrow. That doesn't mean do stuff that's outlandish and crazy. That means enjoy the moment. And that's something I swear, my Saturday is like my Monday. I try to enjoy it the same way. There's no difference, period. Even at work, I'm just trying to enjoy myself. I love my life. I love my family. I love my sons. I love myself. And that goes back to, you're no good to anybody else. You're no good to yourself, right? So that's why it's good to have these things that you do before bed or in the morning to kind of like get your day going. And it's like eating something healthy, right? Have a nice cup of coffee, some fruit, and, some eggs or something healthy to get your body going instead of having a Snicker bar. Not saying I've never done that. Delicious, but you don't feel as good. You might for that moment, but in the long run, it ain't going to help you. So I feel like eating a good breakfast or eating something light or a little something, and it really helps. Same thing with telling yourself, I'm going to do great things today. I'm really excited about today. Man, like, thank you for just letting me wake up. I pray every single day of my life throughout the day. It's something I've never really shared with people, especially in a public thing like this, but I have shared it with in a small little circle with people I love and care about. But I pray throughout the day. That's not something you need to talk to people about. That's your own personal relationship you have with God or whoever you feel like you pray to, I just feel like, hey, whatever you do is your business. Like they say, don't talk about politics or religion, but there is a higher being. I believe in God. There is something. It's just didn't happen, right? So I don't want to go too far, but at the same time, I pray. That's my part of my wellness to getting better. And like I was telling Christian off camera, like, I've been watching a lot of YouTube and podcast stuff. Man, it's gonna kill me. His name's Cliff something. Does it with his son. They go around. He's been doing it for years. Even when his son is little, now his son's grown. He's older than us. He goes ahead and helps his dad. They go to different campuses and go to different YouTube channels and talk about, God. And they go get. I don't want to say they go against, but they go and have podcasts and debates with atheists, Jews, like every denomination of, type of religion out there. But they're pretty cool and very understanding of things. And I think it's awesome they do that. But long story short, I just feel like, this day and age is good to just be there mentally. You know what I mean? It really is. I feel like people they don't really do this little small wellness thing. Like I said, even if it's just for 10 minutes, it's really important to get you right before you get out there and start the day with other people. You can't just like, all right, I'm just going to just go and then, have a soda in the morning, which sometimes I do. That's kind of my cup of coffee. Just saying, guys, Diet Coke. Remember, Coke. I drink it all the time. So, long story short, yeah, man, I think it's important. And like I said, we're kind of talking about like social media, how people are like putting out there, you got to work every day. And like, it's not the thing, man. It's just not the thing. And I don't believe in that. I'm 100% with the grains on you. Like, I think you put in, you hit the ground running and you put the effort in there. There's going to be sleepless nights, but man, you got to come back to reality. Like, I love my family. I love the people around me. I love my friends. Like, I even tell Christian, hey, bro, and he'll vouch for it. Like, hey, man, let's go have a drink. Or, hey, dude, you need to cause this guy's a workaholic. This guy always likes to stay busy, which is great. But sometimes it's good to just man, we're out promise tomorrow, man. Let's hang out with some good people. Let's enjoy our moment. You know what I mean? And so, and there's nothing wrong with Christian. It's not like he does anything bad. He just, sometimes you need the extra push to kind of hey, man, loosen up a little bit. So, but anyways.
Yeah, I've been, to tie it with the topic that we're having, which is on wellness. I've, this year, obviously, I have relocated from, Newport to Clovis, and I've really enjoyed the being sequestered.
Mm-hmm.
I've enjoyed being more alone. I'm not going out. I'm not out socializing,
right,
doing this. I'm just like monk mode. I'm just focused.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And I enjoy doing this podcast. And, obviously I'm interacting with people and such on social media, and social media is one thing versus in person. But yeah, I've just really enjoyed just kind of doing my own thing.
Right.
And I feel like you just, I don't know, it's so easy to get drawn into, okay, well, we're doing this and we're doing that. And it's just nice to just
absolutely,
going to bed early, waking up early. Like, it's just, I've been in a rebound, I guess is the term.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody's using me different, because I'll agree with that and then I'll disagree with that. But at the same time, that's what makes you happy. So it's like me saying I like the color black. Well, you're like, I like the color blue. I'm not going to convince you to like black. You just like blue, bro. And that's cool. Like, I agree with you need to have you time. You need to have wellness, but you can't be a hermit crab. You have to find a balance in life no matter what. There's not you got like with your partner, you got to be evenly yoked, right? There has to be a balance. There has to give and take. Same thing with your personal life. You can't be, not saying Christian does this, I'm just saying in general, you can't be a hermit crab, indoors, do nothing, and work, and that's it. Like, that doesn't mean you have to go drink, get fucked up, act a fool, go do drugs, or do anything crazy. But to mingle with people, that's what we're put on this earth, man, to be around people. We're not meant to be alone. And if you have any type of religious belief in anything, not you per se, God didn't create Adam by himself or Eve by himself. He created Adam and Eve to have a partner, Doesn't mean it has to be like a girl to hang out 24/7. Well, it can be one of your buddies, like, hey, man, let's go, let's go have a drink or whatever. Let's go play a pickup game of basketball or something. Let's go to the gym, some shit. So I just feel it's healthy mentally to be around, for me, the opposite sex, for one. And then two, to just be around people in general. That's why, I feel it's important to just, and I don't want to segue too far. And then this is something you can actually tap in with, because you actually were homeschooled in high school, right?
Yeah.
I feel it's so, again, I saw me and Christian, he said it best, we're like yin and yang sometimes. It's so important that you don't do that, in my opinion. I feel it's so important. That's how you develop a rapport with people. And I know a lot of people, parents don't want their kids around, all the crazy stuff, but you kind of need to be around stuff. You got to, because you're going to separate and leave the nest one day from your parents, right? You got to know what's out there. You got to know you got to, develop an awareness of things. That doesn't mean you have to put them in a bad school or something. Still put them in a great school. That's what I do with my kids. but they still need to see all genres of life of people. You can't take them out, be homeschooled, and think that they're going to be safe. Then you're going to put them out in the world, and then they're kind of fucked. Then you got to figure things out. Might be a late bloomer. You might not be. You might go a bad direction. You went in a good direction. You got blessed. You were with good people and have great family, great parents, But there's some people who divert and go a dark path. And I know of people, even family members, who've done that. And unfortunately, it didn't end well for them. So, I think it's important that, you put your kids in school, public school, even though things are really messed up or becoming really messed up now and teaching all this weird stuff. That's like a whole nother thing. But yeah, so I think it's important that you spend time with people you love and you care about. And like I said, the opposite sex, I think it's huge. Spending time with people, you're into, or that you guys have the same interests that you enjoy spending time with each other, or you guys enjoy working out, or it's so healthy, because then that's part of wellness. It makes you happy and you feel good. And then you wake up and you're like, man, I can't wait to see that person, or man, that was fun yesterday. I needed that weekend. You know what I mean? I think it's important. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it certainly helps, and obviously, we're all different. I guess lately I've been more of a hermit.
I wasn't trying to attack Christian at all whatsoever. Yeah. I hope he's not like but piece of shit.
But yeah, I think there's value. I mean, that's why there's men, there's women, there's people with different backgrounds, and you've got to be able to learn. You've got to be able to work cohesively with people, and get out there and experience things. Yeah. So yeah. There's absolutely utility to it.
Yeah. No, and again, I wasn't trying to attack him. He has been in his shell. That's not what I was kind of like trying to convey. Because a Christian's doing this, but I think it is important. Like, it's not. I know it's important. I mean, how do people do when they don't communicate with people and they're just in like a cell type thing by themselves all day long? No interaction with people. You got to be able to interact with people, not just through social media. You got to talk to people. You got to go outside. You got to learn, how people function. We just got to be out there, man. Get the sun on you. That's just my take on it. I love communicating. I love talking. I love people, and I just feel like it's good. I mean, if you want to develop your skills in any way, shape, and form, you got to talk to people. You got to be around people, You can be slick on the keyboard, but you got to interact with people and enjoy people's company. And, again, there's nothing wrong with being a hermit crab. There's not wrong with like, man, I'm just focused right now. I'm all about that. I got to grind. I got to do what I need to do. I'm not, I don't have a girlfriend or anything. I'm just like you, we're focused right now, and someone cool blocks are way cool. If not, well, we're still grinding no matter what. You know what I mean? So, but I do think it's important to come out of your shell. Again, I'm not referencing Christian. It's good to come out of your shell and just have some fun, man. Like that will be there when you come back. Just like the gym. I didn't go to the gym. I haven't gone to the gym this week. It's all good. The gym will be waiting for me. I will be there. The gym's going to be there. Your work will always be there. You know what I mean? It'll always be there for you. Gotta just let it go. But you gotta find people. I think there's people that are extremists. They don't know how to find that balance. They either go too hard and get drunk too fast and drink too much. They don't have like drink or two, bullshit, have some food and go home. Very simple. That's my take.
I think you brought up a great point as it relates to it's finding that balance. You said, from what I got from what you said was, obviously, you're working hard, you're doing your thing, but also learning to just kind of let go and let kind of things take their natural course in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of reminded me of one of the if I can find it on here that I wanted to share, that has it. Okay, living.
While he's doing that, I gotta take a.
Yeah, it's I tell you guys, this book is great. Anyways, I'm not able to find it. Oh, you know what? Whatever. Here, I'm just gonna read something else. But basically, what I was trying to find in here was, this Lao Tzu's work. I talked about how just I'll incorporate my own thoughts on it. Obviously, you could do what you can to prepare and to make things happen and such, but at the same time, there's also a natural kind of course to things. So it's like, do what you can to achieve this thing in your career or job or whatever it may be, but also recognize that, and we all are aware of it on some level, but some things are just out of our control, and also just be one with it in a sense. I don't know how to describe it, but and then another thing I wanted to share real quick. I meant to share earlier. These are things that I write.
There's coming with notes.
Yeah, that
I wasn't ready, guys.
well, this is my bookmark.
No,
I keep it in the morning. Yeah, but this was from Wayne Dyer. This really stood out to me, and this is germane to what we're talking here. I have the ability to stay poised and centered regardless of what goes before me, and I just thought that was such a great. That was a great thing. And another thing I want to mention is, and this is something that I wrote. We talk about, right, like learning to let go and relax. But then also you have to have ambition. You got to be driven. You got to work hard and such. So I feel like ego gets shit on a lot. Like stop and think about it. Like,
what do you mean? I mean, elaborate off that a little bit.
Well, I mean, like I feel like a lot of spiritual or religious text, at least that I've been exposed to or aware of, it all talks about just like letting go of the ego, right? Like wanting things, and like the thesis with a lot of the spiritual religious stuff is be happy with what you have, realize you are already rich, and so on and so forth. But I think it's also important to put, like, this book talks all about ego is your enemy, right? It's like lust and desire and this and money, but I would say it's like yin and yang. Right. It's like black and white, and there's a gray area, and it's having that balance. And I wrote this as a reminder when I was meditating. Ego can be good, likened to debt being good or bad, right? And I mentioned that in another video how
about the debt,
consumer credit card debt, not good. That's carrying over. Mortgage on a home, I would argue that's good debt.
Right.
So. What I'm saying is, yeah, ego can get us in trouble. It can create problems, right? When we desire things and, we get upset with people. But ego can also be good. It's what motivates us.
What drives you
to create and build things. I mean, imagine if I just pulled a Lao Tzu. If I pulled a Lao Tzu, which is the writer of this book here, and I just said, you know what? I'm in my early 30s. I'm going to go just live off the land and live this monk life, and I'm rich and I'm whole with what I have. Sure, I could do that and I could have a great life, but I know I could offer so much more value and utility to the world by working, by earning a great living, by producing content. And so I choose to go with the latter rather than the former, which is living like a monk. And again, I wrote, ego can be good, like can do debt being good. Ego can drive you to create and accomplish greatness for yourself and mankind and give you drive. And everything we enjoy is a product of someone's ego, wanting to improve because it's for profit or because of wanting to better something. Medicine, the vehicles we drive, airplanes, that's all ego. A lot of that's ego.
And it comes back down to what I said, there has to be balance. It's good I have a little pride. You have to. It drives me. Like I actually talked to my coach about this in jiu-jitsu. Like, he didn't really agree with me. Man, it's completely fine. I told my coach, is like, I've been submitted, twice in the past, like 4 years by people that weren't out of school. But in the past 3 years, I haven't been submitted at all. And he's like, oh, that's just pride, like you can't think like that. That's not good. I'm like, well, that's what drives me. Obviously, he's coaching me well, so I'm doing something right. I understand his logic, but that's what drives me to continue to do better. I must be doing something right. And I'm not some badass dude, and plenty of people will kick my ass. Probably not. No, but like probably plenty of people can, but that drives me. That motivates me. People can say, oh, that's just like a macho thing. No, like I pride myself on not getting tapped out. I pride myself on really training hard and doing the best I can. Like, what's wrong with that? So there has to be a balance though. You don't have to, I'm the baddest dude here. Nah, plenty of people will whoop my ass. Not even just in general. But you got to have a little pride, a little ego. Like me, I won't lose. That's in my mind. Like, you have to. Like, I'm not going to give up. Like, people might use their girlfriend as motivation. Like, man, I can't let my girl down, or I can't let my mom or dad down. Me, obviously, if anybody knows me, very easy. I can't let my sons down. There's been time, even jiu-jitsu or even at work, like, I want to stop. I really want to give up. And I think about my sons, motivates the crap out of me. I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, got a second win. And that, they don't know that. At that time, but they that's why I tell my sons, man, you guys help dad sometimes without even knowing you're helping me. I was like, so it's a really cool feeling to like have these dudes in my head, like, oh man, I gotta do my best. I gotta make sure, like my son's there. And look, at the end of the day, my sons didn't ask to be here. right? So it's not my it's my pleasure, not my duty, to make sure their life and their existence on this planet is comfortable and they're happy. It's my pleasure to make sure it's an enjoyable ride, right? And so in I use that, that mindset of like, man, I just need to be the best I can for my sons. Like, it drives me. I'm a single dad. I am blessed to have great parents and an awesome brother, but they drive me, right? So there has to be a balance, is what I'm trying to say, with the ego and pride and working your ass off. Like, there has to be a balance. Go enjoy yourself with friends, but come Monday, bust ass, do your stuff and work hard all 5 days weeks, or 6, whatever you have to do. Maybe you got to put extra day, maybe 7. It happens. Like, I've done 7 days, 8 days in a row easy. Sometimes you just have to, and you don't even get paid sometimes for those days. You just, you got to push yourself. We just talked about it today, me and Christian off camera. Like, sometimes you got to take not 1 or 2, maybe a grip of steps back. But it's all gonna get better. It's all you're gonna move forward. You just gotta trust the process. But there has to be a balance, man. Gotta have some type of sanity, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope people got a lot of, or I should say, found this really resourceful. At least,
right.
Maybe then people learn something new.
Yeah, I hope so. I feel like ultimately, to close shop, it's so important to be good to yourself, even as a man. Like, maybe some of you guys might have shunned this off early because we started talking about well-being and men should, like, stretch. And like, yo, man, that really is huge. As a man, like, you got to take away what you saw on social media or what you've been told of all this. You got to be happy with yourself as a man, too. It's not about being macho and like, oh, I'm smelly and dirty all the time. No, man, you gotta, like, it's okay to, like, express yourself. And I ain't one of those people. Hey, it's kumbaya time. Not like, yo, man, after you're done busting your ass at work and being a good dad or being a good boyfriend and hitting the gym, being a boss, whatever it is, have you time. You want to drink your beer, but then get in the shower, relax, foam roll, stretch, read a book, pray a little bit, and just thank God that you're able to have that day, work hard, be able to provide for your family. And then when you wake up in the morning, thank God, or whoever you believe in. Hey, I'm so glad I'm able to wake up. I'm able to see another day, because there is hundreds of thousands of people in this world that don't get to wake up the next morning. Or like my sons, for instance, like I said, every time before I leave, I always, whether they're here or not, like this morning, I had to take off at work and they're going on a cruise. And I hug my one. He was like, thesis was up like 6 in the morning and he was in the shower already. He has a routine. He's like me. And, I give him a hug, told him I loved him, and I peek in my son's room, Drake. I tell him I love him. He's asleep. But, I always make sure there's some form of contact in some way, shape, or form. And then I go down in my car, I warm up my car, and I pray. And, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no, like, as a man, you should be able to, like, that's the time you put your pride aside and be a man, right? And there's a time to pull the pride card out when you need to motivate you, like what Christian said, to motivate you, the pride and the
vanity or whatever.
Right, exactly. So, but yeah, hopefully you guys got something from this, and especially you men out there, man. Like, everybody knows me. I'm really hard around the edges, when you look at me and when we talk, and like my language sometimes. But when it comes to like personal development and me, going in a closed circle and talking to people like Christian, who's like a brother to me and stuff like that, I'll open up and, man, I turn into like a marshmallow. I'm really, chill about things, and I don't mind expressing myself. But, hopefully you guys kind of found some type of, pocket in there that you can relate to, and you're like, dang, I be thinking that too. I'm glad he said it. So hopefully you guys found this, good for you guys. And, if you have any questions, I love all the feedback that we've gotten. I really enjoy it. I'm really happy. I enjoy doing this. And, yeah, we'll definitely meet. If anything else I don't want to close out without you.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying the podcast that we've been doing, and I hope the audience has as well.
Right.
And we're always receptive to feedback, and obviously there's things that we could do and improve on, and
100%
learning along the way. But we really appreciate you, and the feedback that I've gotten and that Bronson received, that's really motivating.
Right.
It motivates us to carve out the time. It motivates us to try and work and refine things, and so. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. We'll be seeing you soon. Till next time.
Take care, guys.